No, there were some differences, and we've covered some of those, but some of the concepts were very similar. Nate Adkins against Florida backfield. He played 48 total snaps. He lined up 9 times in the backfield per PFF. Against Tennessee, he played 69 snaps, lined
Wow.
up 10 times in the
Nice.
backfield. But we saw him, here's where he lined up against Tennessee: 10 in the backfield, 38 in line, which would be your kind of typical tight end alignment.
Hmm.
Um, Slot, 12.
Wow.
He lined up in the slot a good bit. One of those little out routes that he had, he was in the slot, lined up out wide once. So they used him in a variety of ways, and he was definitely he's been a critical part of what they're doing, a
That
huge part of
It's a
that
good
game.
tight end room, and I
Yeah.
think he's emerged as the best guy in that room.
Let's give credit on two ends of it. One, he was the very last available scholarship
Yep.
for South Carolina this past offseason. And I thought, hey, maybe find a safety, like maybe add another DB to this group. A lot of people sort of criticize that move, and he's come in. He's been a big part of what they do in all facets of the offense, I think. And then to me, that was such a savvy move to do that because, as we've been talking about more in the running game, but you're missing Marshawn Lloyd, you're missing CBS. So you don't want the smaller Juju as your pass pro guy on third and passing downs, right? Well, you're wasting Jaheim if in passing situations you stand him in the backfield and say go pass pro, and that's not a strength of his at all anyway. So the move is put Atkins almost as Rattler's like personal protector in the backfield on that. And now you can still put Jaheim out in routes if you want on those third down situations. So I thought that was incredibly savvy. It didn't get any credit against Florida because the overall, well, we all saw it, but pretty sharp move there.
Yeah, but I mean, as a lead blocker in the run game as well, and we've seen him get some of his first action in the passing game in the last couple of weeks. It was one catch against Florida and then 2 against Tennessee.
Good
I mean,
hands.
he's all around. He's there. I wonder why he hasn't emerged earlier. We can make our best guesses on that, but he's been doing everything for them. Well, he did everything for them in Tennessee week. Spencer, yes. Juice, yes. Tonka, like we talked about all the obvious stars in that game. This is what's fun about a Tuesday show. We can get in the weeds and he emerged. I mean, he really jumped off the page to me as someone on a second watch.
You know what his hometown is? Knoxville, Tennessee.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yep.
Pretty special.
Greg Atkins, his dad, former Tennessee assistant. Nate Atkins, overall grade, 75.4, which is a good grade. Fourth highest graded player on the offense. Hard to believe, like, there's some players, PFF's average grade is what, Wes? 60?
60 is if you did nothing
the
to help
baseline.
or nothing to hurt.
Hard to believe that anybody has below a baseline. They scored 63 points.
Yeah.
Everybody's offensive grade should be like a 90.
So Spencer was number 1.
That's right.
Jalen Nichols number 2?
No.
Juice
was number 2.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I got this ready. Okay, here we go. What about Javon?
Nope. Javon's in the top 10. Who's got a number 3 guess? You got Spencer 1, Juice 2, Nate Atkins number 4. Who can give 3 and 5? Ooh, bonus points.
Let me just say, Spencer should have had 100. I don't care. I don't care what is in the analytics. I don't care how they do it. He should have had 100. Period. Wow. Okay, so Juice is 2. That makes sense. 3 or 5 has got to be Jaheim.
Jaheim is number 3.
And number 5 is Josh Van.
Nope.
Dang it. 2 touchdown catches, though.
Number 5.
Number 5 is
we've named everyone on the offense now, so it's not even impressive if we get any more.
DK?
That's right. It's
Oh,
DK.
nice.
Carry on Joyner, number 5.
Man, I don't know how many snaps did he play?
Let's see. Did Carry on Joyner just 19 snaps?
But they were very key 19 snaps. I feel like gave just enough. To give Chris credit, he said this during the Florida game. Obviously, it was one of the few bright spots in that game. Does he not look more explosive?
Yes.
It felt like last year when they would run those plays, he couldn't quite accelerate quick enough to make it happen.
Now, is that physical, though, or is that mental? Like, can he go because he knows what he's supposed to be doing? Because that's what I felt like watching Saturday. Everybody was a half step quicker because everybody was actually executing with conviction, where it feels like we're watching them second guess a lot of these plays.
Yeah, that's why that early conversion was really impressive to me. It was a tough, hard run. It was only a 4 or 5 yard run. The first one he ran out of the Wildcat, but he looked explosive enough to see the hole, hit the hole, and get the conversion that we hadn't seen to this point, period.
Yeah.
So it's interesting how that sort of seems like it's playing out.
Yeah, I
He had
agree.
2 touchdowns in the game, right?
Yeah, the early one where he sort of just powered in, and then
Yeah.
a late one where great cutback. Like they sort of tried to cut him off, and he saw the space and cut it back. But we talked about it going in. It was going to be hard to have. You weren't going to just go have a huge rushing day against them, but they really manufactured enough to move the chains and to keep them honest. And I thought they did a good job with that motion stuff, just using Juice a little bit, using Leggett a little bit.
Marion Brown had a nice one.
Yeah, and Marion Brown, man, that guy is so quick. He's so fast. But they, they do a lot of that motion all season long, but then they haven't handed it off as much to those guys. And then the last few weeks because of Lloyd, they've kind of been forced to. But I think it's really forced the defenses to kind of acknowledge the edge.
You got to give it, and you got to spring one. And Carolina sprung a couple early in that game, which helped. And it was the same thing we saw in the Vanderbilt game. They ran 3 reverses on the opening drive against Vanderbilt, and then you got everybody off balance. It was, and this comes back to Marcus Satterfield, who deserves a lot of credit, obviously. But we have not often seen the punch and the counter punch. Like Carolina has not always had the counter punch ready. And the Vanderbilt game and the Tennessee game, I think that's what we've seen. They're setting stuff up.
Yeah, and I think we've seen the few times that we've seen this offense really go. First half of Vandy, whole game against Tennessee, the entire bowl game. It's been when Carolina has been able to execute its, I guess you call it its base stuff, whatever it's trying to do at the beginning. And then it's kind of gotten into a flow, and they've been able to actually kind of build and do complementary plays. It's like when they aren't executing whatever they're trying to do at the beginning, it's like they never get to that complementary stuff. It's a pretty deep playbook. So once they get out there and there's, we've talked about that a lot, but once they get out there and they're executing at a high level and what they're trying to do off the top, it kind of does build on itself, and it kind of snowballs from there, and the guys are having fun and everybody's getting involved then.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Nate Atkins, as good as he's been, is probably not on the top 5 of what you go in saying, hey, this is a guy we got to get the football to. But when you're having a bunch of successful plays, converting your third downs, they had 2 third downs they didn't convert.
They were 8 of 11, so 3.
8 of 11, and then we're 2 for 2 on fourth down. So, I mean, you're 10 for 13 combined on third and fourth down. So, I think when you're on the field and converting, you get everybody involved and everybody's having fun. And then you can do the fun stuff like the throwback to Spencer from to carry on. And everybody's just having a lot more fun when the ball's getting spread around.
803-404-6100. It is a notebook dump day. So if you have any more thoughts from the Carolina-Tennessee game, any other observations, players that you feel like deserve to have their efforts highlighted, let us know. Love Chevy phone line, text line, Twitter, @Pearson Fowler, @Coach P tweets, Wes Mitchell GC, and GC Chris Clark.
The Early Game with Bill Gunter and Jen Jensen on your home of the Gamecock, 107.5 The Game.
This is Damon Amendolara with your CBS Sports Minute. The Niners have firmly planted themselves as one of the favorites in the NFC after last night's butt whipping of the Cardinals. The question is at QB, where Jimmy G has been underwhelming in their big game flameouts. In the NFC, there's a group of QBs who will have to prove their time is now, and Jimmy is one of them. This is Damon Amendolara.
It's pro time because at Lowe's, it's Provember. Save big with inventory you can count on, like Flex products or DeWalt power tools starting at just $99. Plus, Lowe's MVPs members earn up to 3 times bonus points per dollar on select items. Save all Provember long. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts, if any. MVP's Pro Rewards Program terms and restrictions apply. See Lowe's.com/L/Pro Loyalty terms. Subject to change. Prices valid from 10/17/22 to 2/3/23 or until supplies last.
Buying a home? Rocket Mortgage will cover 1% of your rate for the first year at no cost to you with Inflation Buster. That's more road trips, more front row seats. Plus, if rates drop within 3 years of your home purchase, you get exclusive savings when you refinance with Rate Drop Advantage. Save when you buy today and refinance tomorrow. Call 833-7ROCKET today or visit inflationbuster.com to start saving.
For fees, covered rate, like date requirements, and other terms and conditions, visit inflationbuster.com. Call 1-833-7ROCKET. Equal housing lender license in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org, number 3030.
This basketball season and every basketball season, come to campus and catch a game. Whatever the game, whoever you're with, just catch a game. Find your tickets online at GamecocksOnline.com.
72-hour after Thanksgiving sale at Galliana Chrysler Jeep Kia on Greystone. Almost every new Chrysler, Jeep, and Kia priced at invoice. I repeat, invoice pricing on nearly every new Chrysler, Jeep, and Kia. Qualified buyers put no money down and make no payments for the next 3 months. 0% financing will be available. Plus, current Kia owners get a $500 trade-in bonus. Bring your old car as is. Don't even wash it. We'll take any trade-in. Interested parties should arrive early for best selection. No negotiating will be necessary. Save thousands in minutes. Invoice pricing on almost every new Chrysler, Jeep, and Kia with no money down and no payments for the next 3 months. Black Friday, Saturday, and Monday only at Galliana Chrysler Jeep Kia on Greystone. I-126 Zoo exit in Columbia. Call 779-7300 or GallianaSC.com.
Gotta go to Galliana.
Excludes Telluride, K5, and Wrangler. In-stock units only. All rebates to dealer. $27.77 per month per thousand borrowed for 36 months at 0% APR with 0 down. Plus tax tag includes $225 closing fee. Negative trade equity financed in new loan subject to lender approval. Expires November 28th.
Locally owned Atlantic Windows and Doors has been making Columbia area homes more comfortable, attractive, weather-tight, and energy efficient for over 35 years. How? By distributing products from the best window and door manufacturers in the country. These products give you the best looks, the best quality, and the best value, all based on your specific needs. And everything is professionally installed by their dedicated and experienced employees, not subcontractors. Atlantic Windows and Doors. Visit them online at awdsc.com.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
Hey Midlands, Gus Furlong with Midas Auto Service and Tires.
This is DK Joyner from Midas in the Midlands. I will not take my car anywhere for service but Midas. Total car care. Trust me, you will win at Midas.
Thanks, DK. And don't forget to ask about our loaner cars while your vehicle is serviced.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. It's the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour, presented by Firehouse Subs, founded by firemen with Pearson Fowler, Chris Clark, and Wes Mitchell on the home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
22 minutes after 11 o'clock, Tuesday morning. Welcome back into the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour. Pearson, Preston, Chris, Wes here with you, talking Carolina and Tennessee. I haven't talked a lot of basketball this week, but Josh keeps texting me and telling me to give away some tickets. Let me make sure I get this right. Pair of tickets to the men's game against Upstate. Game is on Friday. So we're not doing that right now. But later on in the show, we'll give you a chance to win some basketball tickets. That's fun. Cam Smith, Spencer Rattler, Nate Adkins, Tonka Hemingway. Whom have we not highlighted that had a stellar performance on Saturday?
Ooh, I'm gonna throw Darius and Marcellus into the convo just because I think I think maybe this is Herb Street mentioned it when I was rewatching it. they didn't really think that many teams had DBs or cornerbacks specifically who could just go out there and match up with Tennessee and allow the other guys to kind of, go make plays. And, I think Marcellus, give him some credit for stepping up. Like, I think, Darius and Cam have sort of been South Carolina's two most consistent cornerbacks, and Marcellus has kind of been the third guy. Well, when they made the decision to move DQ to safety and play Cam in the slot at nickel, which put him over Jalen Hyatt, that put the onus on Marcellus to have a really, really good game. And really, those three guys were going to have to play the whole way against an opponent that their entire identity is we're going to wear you down and, go speedball on you, fast tempo, all this stuff. And those guys tackled well. They gave up some plays, but you knew they would. And they had a short memory. They kept going, kept playing. Yeah. They got lined up. If you watched Carolina's DBs, is like, so Tennessee, obviously, the second a play is over, their receivers, they got a spot on the field. And you can see they're just like, I'm going to my spot. Well, Carolina's DBs were doing the exact same thing. It was play is over, sprint to my spot, get lined up. And, I think this is one of those games, Chris and I talked about it yesterday. You can go through the entire roster of guys that played. Everybody did something to contribute to this win, because you don't win a game like that without everybody being involved. But so the deeper we go, we can probably show some love to everybody. But I thought the three of those guys, if you had bad corners, that game plan doesn't work whatsoever. They torch you.
To go to the offensive side of the ball, I'll highlight the two guys that we talked about in the last segment when we were going over the PFF grades. PFF grades are a good reference. It's not an end-all, be-all, because, again, I couldn't look at anybody on that list. So-and-so had a bad game. No, even if the grade says otherwise, bad or average, nobody on offense, I don't think, had an average game because, like Wes said, everybody contributed. So I'd say Dakereon Joyner. I think just his presence, 19 snaps, right? But I remember he got a shout out for his perimeter blocking. We have talked about that so many times this year. Like, there are a lot of stats where you can say if South Carolina does this, they typically win. If they block well on the perimeter, they've played well. If they don't, they don't, and it's very noticeable. Dakereon did a good job blocking. Did a good job in the pass game in the limited action, and obviously gave them something at quarterback, administering whether it's him running the football or administering some of those plays. His presence there was key. And then Jaheim Bell, what was big. He did just enough. Averaged 4.8 yards a carry on a lot of those plays. It's not like there was a ton of room to run, but he got up in there inside and got 4 yards, and that's huge. The last week, nothing went right at all offensively, and you're getting, a lot of those runs are no yards or a loss. He was able to give them some tough runs, and then, was an asset in the passing game too. Had, obviously the 5 catches for 39 yards and a couple scores out there in the flat. So I thought his presence was also really important with how they used him and what they did. And I think that's the key. For Jaheim, just his usage. I think it was his season high in snaps.
60-something?
60, I think might have been 60 even. So they used him a lot, and they used him well. Now, one reason he was able to play so much is they stayed on the field. You can't play 60 snaps if the entire team plays 50.
Yeah.
So, but I thought those two guys were deserving as well of a shout out.
Who had the lowest PFF grade, just out of curiosity?
I'll have to look that up for you.
Cool. Chris is going to effort that. Y'all will be excited to know that during, I don't remember if it was the 9 o'clock or the 10 o'clock hour, but before you got here, Preston officially re-downgraded Josh Heupel to Jeff Heupel.
He's back. He's back to Jeff Heupel.
We did get a text from
and his gullet got bigger somehow after the game. His gullet hanging off of his chin got bigger somehow.
He's getting his gobbler ready for turkey season.
It must be.
What's the temperature instead of Jeff? Jim
Heupel?
If he loses to Vandy.
He's going down to Jim Hypo. Shout out to anybody named Jim out there.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Well,
or
love
Jeff.
Jim.
So we're going to make somebody unhappy. We do have a text from somebody named Jeff that says, can you use another name other than Jeff as an insult for Mr. Hypel? It's a little insulting to the rest of us.
All right, done. Jim.
We-
All right,
we're-
now
yeah,
here the
moving on to Jim
board
Hypo.
just lit up.
At what point on Saturday night did he become Jeff again?
There was a point where he was on the sideline sort of crying about I forget what play it was, but he was just on the sideline crying and he was shaking his head, and I just saw his
Goblin.
Yeah, saw his lower chin moving around. I was like, oh, look at this.
So you
guy.
had to actually see him, and then it like was made manifest.
Yeah,
Jeff.
it brought it all back.
Or Jim, sorry.
Jim. Shout out to Jeff, man. We appreciate you listening.
Yeah,
for sure.
thanks, Jeff. Sorry about that. We'll change it for you, Jim Hypel now.
We'll call you Jeffrey.
Yeah, I had somewhere else I wanted to go with this, but I can't remember now. So tell you what, we'll give you a chance to win some basketball tickets. How about that? If y'all want to go see the Carolina men's basketball game against USC Upstate,
Maybe we should just give him to
Friday.
Jeff.
Huh?
We should just give him to Jeff.
Jeffrey
I
or
like
Jeff?
Yeah, Jeffrey.
Jeffrey.
Because we've offended him.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Please take this as our making up for
Yes.
bringing dishonor to your name.
If you're still listening, Jeff, let us know if you accept our apology. If not, we'll have to make it right. But if you want basketball tickets, 803-404-6100. Just be caller number 5 right now. It's really simple. Call 803-404-6100 and be caller number 5, and I will give you, actually Josh will, not Hypel, our salesperson. He will give you a pair of tickets to go see the Carolina men's basketball game against USC Upstate this Friday, 803-404-6100. Caller number 5, good luck.
More of the Extra Point coming up next on 107.5 The Game.
Hi, everybody. This is Woody Wyndham here to talk about Pioneer Tree Service, Guy Gant's company. Guy Gant's not with us anymore, but his girls are the Gant girls. You know, Chelsea and Madison. You know some of the things they do at Pioneer Tree Service? Tree and shrub removal, tree pruning and thinning, tree planting, tree bracing, raising tree canopies, stump grinding removal, storm damage services, property cleaning and grading, demolition and rock removal, right-of-way maintenance. You got to get in touch with these people. 803-794-8253. Let me give you that again. 803-794-8253. Call right now and get a free estimate. For the most challenging jobs, Pioneer Tree Service. So you're going to want to call somebody you can trust, and that is the Gant girls at Pioneer Tree Service.
803-794-8253. Or find us online at pioneertreesc.com.
Call Pioneer Tree Service for a free quote.
On World AIDS Day, we remember and honor those we have lost to HIV, reaffirm our commitment to ending the HIV epidemic, and support the people with HIV in our great Palmetto State. We recognize there is more work to be done, and together we can reach our goals of preventing new infections and increasing viral suppression. Join us on Thursday, December 1st. You can receive free HIV testing at participating local health departments. For more information, visit scdhec.gov/WAD.
This could be the best Christmas ever. Hi, I'm Travis McNeil. At Oliver Gospel Mission, we are transforming lives at our Men's Center and our Women's and Children's Center, Toby's Place. Your donations make a daily impact as we provide life skills, jobs, and new housing. You can spread hope and joy this holiday season by donating $35 today at olivergospel.org. Let's celebrate Christ this Christmas.
The power of Christ love. The power of Christ love.
Attention! Did you or a loved one live at or near Marine Base Camp Lejeune in North Carolina between 1953 and 1987? If so, listen closely for this important legal announcement. From 1953 to 1987, Marines and their family members at Camp Lejeune drank water that was contaminated with hazardous toxins. The toxins found in the water at Camp Lejeune may cause health issues, especially later in life. Types of health issues associated with water at Camp Lejeune are numerous. If you or a loved one lived near Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation without going to court. Even if you were turned down in the past, a new law can allow you to file a claim today. If you or a loved one spent time near Camp Lejeune, call the Negligence Network to find out if you're eligible for financial compensation. There's no fee unless we win your case. Call 1-800-700-4333. That's 1-800-700-4333. 1-800-700-4333.
Just how does a car repair shop last in business for over 50 years like Sunup Automotive? By providing affordable, reliable, and honest auto repair. But if you ask them, they'll tell you it's their loyal customers who come back time and time again to entrust them with their car repairs. Well-trained technicians, service packages, and monthly specials. Isn't it time you became a customer? Give them a call or come by at 1410 North Millwood Avenue or make an appointment at SonifAuto.com. At Camden Military Academy, cadets achieve their untapped potential in academics and life. Hear now one cadet's message to his parents.
Hey, Mom. Hey, Dad. I think what I really want to say is this place saved our family. Me coming here saved our family. We were in a very bad spot before, but I feel like you guys should have done this sooner, to be honest. But I love you. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
To learn more, visit CamdenMilitary.com.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin. John, what are you doing? Get in my car. So why are you walking to work? Thanks, man. It's these insanely high gas prices. They're draining my bank account. I can't afford to drive anymore. Dude, don't walk. Just do what I do because I never pay full price for gas anymore. I use the free Upside app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. Oh, wait. You're telling me you get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app? Yes, I get real cash back every time I buy gas. Does that actually add up to anything? I'll make around $200. Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code FULL for an extra 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's promo code FULL. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code FULL for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code FULL.
It's the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour, presented by Firehouse Subs, founded by firemen with Pearson Fowler, Chris Clark, and Wes Mitchell on the home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
$11:35 Tuesday morning. Welcome back in. It's the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour on 107.5 The Game, talking Carolina, Tennessee. Shane Beamer will wrap things with his weekly press conference a little bit later on this afternoon. 1:30, we'll have it for you live on 107.5 The Game. Also, Spencer Rattler, Darius Rush, Tonka Hemingway, Nate Adkins scheduled to speak today. I know fans will be eager to hear from each one of those guys. We'll have that for you throughout the course of the afternoon here. A quick update. Michael says that it should be Jethro Heupel.
Jethro Heupel.
Just less likely to offend people, I guess.
Done.
I want to come back to another tweet from Michael here that is a good one. But real quick, Jeff has responded. It sounds like he accepts our apology.
Thank you, Jeff.
But also adds that if Carolina keeps beating people like that, he will change his name.
Well, to what?
Jethro. No, I don't know. Jeff, let us know.
Thank you for thank you for listening to us, hearing us. We never meant to offend you. This is a great way to move through conflict.
I do like Jethro Heupel. That's good. It's a mouthful. Or Jim Heupel. Turkey.
Mm-hmm.
Michael's other tweet says, thought that Spencer Rattler on Saturday finally acted like himself out there. Cocky, trash-talking gunslinger. Didn't hold back. Until now, felt like he was in his shell. I think that's a very good observation.
I think that is interesting. I think that is very interesting. And you feel it's obviously tough because he's been trying to fight against, and I hate this word, but there's no other way to put it, but a narrative that's been put around who he is as a person. And maybe sometimes you overcorrect and you forget some of the stuff that actually made you who you were. And obviously they're still young folks, so they're trying to calibrate all of that. But that's a really interesting observation.
I mean, you come in, people are criticizing your mentality, your whatever, fair or unfair, and you wake up one day and you're Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
And you're like,
because you just think
this happen?
You think that's the right way to do it. Like, oh, Russell says Russell's boring. Maybe if that's
Russell
working
says
for him.
let's ride. Let me say let's
yeah,
ride.
you know, and then maybe that's not for you.
No, it's not. And it's, I mean, you mentioned this earlier. It's chicken or egg. Like, you're putting up 63 points on the number 5 team in the country. Of course, you're having fun. But I would also make the argument that you did that because you were having fun. I don't know if Spencer can always channel that. But we all knew that was in there. Like, no one is surprised. He wasn't making throws that people didn't think that he could make. He was making exactly the throws that people thought that he could make. The fact that he was doing it, that he had the time, that he had the confidence, and he had the trust and everybody on his team, from the play caller to the offensive line to his wide receivers, is what stood out to me. And that's what is so challenging, because Carolina is not going to score 63 against Clemson. They're not going to score 53 against Clemson. Maybe they'll score like 42. Who knows? Probably not. It's a really good defense. But it's not like they can't do those things again. It's not like Spencer can't find those throws. It's not like Juice can't get open. It's not like the line can't protect.
And I think there is that little twinge of kind of disappointment in that has kept some fans from completely enjoying what happened. Not really even because of Spencer's play this year, but just the overall offensive play. You're not going to obviously score 60. I mean, that was a once in a who knows how long overall offensive performance. Like, enjoy that. Like, remember where you were. Like, that doesn't happen. But can you do some? Can the divide between 63 and your punter was your only touchdown be closed a little bit? You know what I mean? Like, I think that was the frustration from some fans. It's like, this, if anything, showed that there was the ability from this offense to put up a bunch of points. And, I know you're going to have some off weeks, but there have been too many, obviously.
Well, your off week can't be 0 points. Your off week needs to be like 21.
Against a Florida defense that was not great. Like, honestly, I really like Missouri. I feel like that's a pretty good defense. You could kind of, if you look back, it's not that hard to kind of believe that happened. But, to get nothing against Florida, then to do what you did against Tennessee, a Florida team that, by the way, got beat by Vanderbilt this past week, which we have not talked about. I mean, it's crazy to see such a big swing there. But, yeah, we saw, to get back to the caller's point or texter's point, we saw Spencer at his absolute peak on Saturday. And that's why you recruit him. Like, that was the unlocking of what he is capable of doing. And I would just love to have probably will never see the light of day film from Gamecock Plus or whoever had the best on-field access. If there were some microphones, I would love to know what was being said during this game, because
he was doing a lot of counting.
Yeah, well, there was a lot of sort of looking to the sidelines from each team, like looking to the opponent's sideline. Lots of talking, lots of jawing. Kind of a chippy game, and I would love to know what was being said. But I think we saw, Spencer's one of those guys who is going to be at his best when he plays with that air of, you can call it confidence, you can call it cockiness, you can call it whatever. But
I don't want my quarterback to be meek. Like, for whatever criticisms, again, fair or unfair, warranted or unwarranted, came with Spencer Rattler as he came to Columbia. I don't care. You don't bring him here. I mean, this sounds like shallow. And maybe not true, but you're not bringing him here to be a pillar of the community. He's going to be here for 10 months and then he's gone. You're bringing him here to throw a hell of a lot of touchdown passes. Like, you don't need him to be the face of your program. You just need him to throw a lot of touchdown passes. And if he wants to be cocky, if he wants to count how many touchdowns he's got on his fingers, like, let him do that.
Well, you want him to be the guy that the opponents and the opponent's fans hate.
Yes.
But that you love. And when he stiff-armed dude going out of bounds and was the one delivering the contact, that's when you already kind of knew, but I was like, okay, he is on one today.
Also, simultaneously, while proving that he had a cannon, he also proves my other theory that he's not an athlete. Because was it a 3rd and 9, and he slid at 8? I was like, oh man,
I was just watching that play. 3rd and 8, he slid at 7.
He let it slid at 7.
Not the best, but there was one play. That one might have been it, where the spot was.
That's the only thing that kept him from getting
bad.
a perfect grade all night.
Yeah,
that's what kept him from the 100.
That was it.
And I felt like, to give him credit, it wasn't a full baseball slide. Like, I feel like he was kind of trying to it
was even worse. It was an awkward slide.
Because he was in between. Do I dive forward?
It's because he's not an athlete.
Slide, and
definitely not dual threat.
He's a quarterback.
Did make some plays with his legs, but doesn't have to mean he's dual threat. Those things can be true, right?
on the first drive of the game, like, I think that really set the tone. Like, to come out, because Tennessee was 100% scoring on that first drive, right? Like, regardless of whether or not South Carolina did, I mean, it was easy. It was not easy the rest of the game. That drive was easy. Had a couple busts, right, for South Carolina. But they came out And look, go look at the plays. It's not anything different from what they've been running this year, really. They had Joyner in on a couple of those plays. But you didn't see anything on that first drive where you go, well, this is new. No. But the difference was, maybe when they called those plays, maybe how they coached them during the week or some pointers they gave. But they converted a 3rd and 6 with an amazing throw by Spencer. He had the 3rd and 8 scramble, the 3rd and 7 scramble, got in position for a 4th and 1, converted that. They converted a 4th and 6. And then they had a touchdown pass to Jaheim on a play we've seen them run a lot, and it worked.
The difference wasn't, I don't know if this is what they were calling or the way that they coached Spencer up or what, but Carolina used the middle of the field in the passing game a lot more on Saturday than pretty much every other game except for maybe Arkansas. And I don't know if that was the types of plays they were calling or where they wanted Spencer's reads to be, or if it was just a matter of him finding those guys. Like, I don't know if that's on Spencer or on Marcus or what, but they used the middle of the field to great effect. The 3rd and 20 to Juice Wells over the field. And I was watching the second half yesterday, Wes. You showed me the side-by-side where they ran the same concept with like the really deep, like the 18-yard dig. It was the same play. They just haven't run those plays this year. And part of it's because they haven't had the time, but the protection was so solid all day. It kind of afforded them that opportunity, I think.
I thought that play also demonstrated the difference in the mindset of the two defenses. Like both of those plays, Tennessee dropped back and played coverage and sat in zone. And Carolina said, we're going to play man and go after you.
Yeah, they brought 6 every play.
Regardless of down and distance. And, Carolina kind of, it was like the same exact play that they got them on with the same exact execution. But there were several moments in that game where you're just like, this is South Carolina's night. Like, it's just their night.
Yeah. So with that in mind, we're not fully moving on yet. We're not talking about Clemson yet. We'll start that tomorrow. But one eye on Tennessee, one eye on the rest of the week. We all kind of laid out and agreed that it wasn't a total fluke, even if it's not exactly replicable. But Preston has introduced an incredible elephant into the room. Depending on the health of South Carolina's, to this point, best proven playmaker on offense, who is considered to be questionable. But what does South Carolina take away from Saturday? How much do they try to replicate it against Clemson? How much is this now the bread and butter of this team? And how much was it an aberration? We'll start to look ahead to what that matchup might look like next.
More of the Extra Point coming up next on 107.5 The Game.
At the Samuels Reynolds Law Firm, we've seen how terrible accidents turn lives upside down, and we're proud to be the lawyers our clients depend on during their toughest moments. I'm Jason Reynolds. Call me when your family is faced with any serious injury or death.
And I'm Stephen Samuels. When you're hurt at work, I go to work, getting you the medical treatment and workers' compensation you depend on. We have the experience and passion you need when you need it most.
Samuels Reynolds. True injuries, true lawyers. 779-4000.
If you're thinking about retiring soon, be sure to tune in to Save Your Retirement with Pat Struby of Preservation Specialists. Join Pat as he talks about the latest trends and headlines that could impact your retirement. Don't go into retirement unprepared. Listen each Sunday morning at 10 to Save Your Retirement with Pat Struby of Preservation Specialists. Firm offers insurance services. Investment advisory services offered through Kalos Capital Incorporated.
Breaking news. Rhino Lining of the Midlands has moved to B&E Trucks at 2018 Charleston Highway in Casey. B&E Trucks, home to CM Truck Beds, the #1 bed. If you're looking to enhance your truck, then B&E Trucks is your destination. Check out the magnificent work they did on 107.5 The Game's truck. B&E Trucks specializes in installation of truck bodies as well as equipment trailers, sales, repair, and maintenance. Put B&E Trucks' professionalism and expertise to work on your vehicles so you can put your vehicles to work for you. B&E Trucks.
We keep the clutter out of your gutter. Call on the gutter man.
The Guttermen have been providing top-notch service throughout the Midlands for over 47 years, building their business on relationships, not gimmicks. And you can call them locally, not a 1-800 number. Call them today at 791-7147 and look for the guys in the powder blue trucks.
We keep the clutter out of your gutter. Call on the gutter man.
There's just something different about Medicine Mart of West Columbia.
My name is Eric Moan. I am a happy customer of Medicine Mart in West Columbia. I live on the other side of town from the Medicine Mart in West Columbia. I happily drive the extra distance because they are so friendly, they are so knowledgeable, they care so much about making sure that your health gets protected.
Medicine Mart Pharmacy at 1300 Sunset Boulevard in West Columbia. They look forward to serving you.
You wash your hands, you brush your teeth, but what about the nose? How do you clean your nose? With Navage. Navage uses powered suction to pull saline in one nostril, around the back of the nose, and out the other nostril, flushing out allergens, mucus, and germs. And it's why cleaning your nose, the body's air filter, is the next evolution in daily personal hygiene. People try Navage for lots of reasons: sinusitis, colds, allergies, snoring, things that make it hard to breathe through your nose. But over time, they find that cleaning their nose makes them feel better, a lot better. Over 3 million Navage users have written more than 100,000 reviews, averaging 4.7 stars, saying, "Best product I've ever used," and "Amazing, I love my Navage." Navage helps you breathe better, sleep deeper, and snore less, but the biggest payoff is improved health. Navage is good personal hygiene and can help you stay healthier. At Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Target, and online. Navage, Navage, clean nose, healthy life.
Here's attorney Eric Moan for the Hood Team.
You don't want to deal with one of these companies that is not based here in the Midlands. They don't really know the place, streets, sidewalks, areas, school districts. The Hood Team, they've been here for a long time. There's no question you can ask them that they don't know the answer to.
I'm Danny Hood.
And I'm Karen Hood.
And I'm William DiMaggio.
We're the Hood Team
at Coldwell Banker Realty. Give us a call.
At 803-730-2512.
Or online at thehoodteam.com.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 1075 The Game. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. It's the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour, presented by Firehouse Subs, founded by firemen with Pearson Fowler, Chris Clark, and Wes Mitchell on the home of the Gamecocks, 1075 The Game.
Ten minutes in front of noon. Welcome back in. It's the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour. Pearson, Preston, Wes, Chris wrapping things up here on a Notebook Dump Tuesday. Shane Beamer press conference coming up in about an hour and a half. Player availability before that, and then tomorrow we'll officially start turning our attention to the Carolina-Clemson game. Before we do that, though, one big question looming, in my opinion, over this week is that South Carolina has clearly stumbled into something. This was a team that wanted its identity to be ball control. Marcus Satterfield said, run 58 plays a game, run for 275, pass for 225. Those were his words. That's what he wanted to do. And it looked like with Marshawn Lloyd as the focal point of the offense, that was the way to go. But South Carolina, even though they ran the ball reasonably well, they were clearly pass first and pass often on Saturday. If Marshawn Lloyd is healthy, how do you integrate him into what Carolina did Saturday? Or do you go back to where you wanted your bread to be buttered all season long?
I think obviously every game plan is going to be opponent dependent to an extent, but I think you got to lean into a lot of what you saw this past week. Maybe not quite to that extent, because you're going to be facing a Clemson pass rush that probably one of the most talented fronts you're going to face all year long. So I think you kind of, in a perfect world, hope that you can sort of do what you did this past week, but complement it a little bit more with a dynamic running back. And I wonder, did we all lean a little bit too much into does this team have to be a run first, give Marshawn the ball?
That was what we heard from the coaches and the players.
Yeah,
we're just leaning on the information that they give us, and they're inside the programs. We got to default to them, right?
No, we were talking about Marshawn. Why didn't Marshawn get the ball? He's got to get the ball 25 times a game. If he's not touching the ball, that's not smart. Whereas the ultimate goal for any great offense, I think, is that you can spread the ball around and do what we saw on Saturday. Now, that's difficult to do because you have to be able to execute a number of different things, a number of different skills to do that. If anything, Marshawn not being in there did force them to have to get more creative.
Mm-hmm.
Now the question is, if he plays, can you sort of re-implement him while still doing some of the other things and not have people say, well, why aren't you giving the ball to Marshawn the second things go bad.
Yeah, Chris,
I
is it
think.
as simple as he just gets Jaheim 17 carries?
Marshawn gets them.
Yeah. Like those 17 just go to
Well,
Marshawn from
he's
Jaheim.
going to get more for sure. I mean, he's going to get probably, if he's healthy, he's going to pick up at least most of those, and then you figure out
So
other
you do
ways to
swing back
implement.
in that direction. Because, I mean, after what you saw,
Yeah.
don't you want Spencer throwing it 37 times again against a Clemson secondary that's been the weak point of their defense?
Yeah, swing back in the direction. I think you keep doing what you did against Tennessee philosophically. I
Okay.
do think that Marshawn picks up Jaheim snaps if he's healthy, or most of them at running back, and then you integrate Jaheim in some other ways, whether it's getting him carries or, just other different things in the passing game. But it is a good point that, like, kind of where do you go? Because I remember at the beginning of the season, I certainly thought there's questions about the run game. They've lost Kevin Harris, Saquandre White, right? They didn't run it that well last year. You've got Spencer Rattler, you got these receivers. So naturally, my thought was pass to set up the run. Well, they didn't have a lot of success with that. Here comes Marshawn Lloyd. Okay, this team's identity, they're all searching for an identity. Now maybe it's run to set up the pass. That really didn't make it click either. And so if they can kind of, 2 games left, but if Marshawn can return, we don't know yet. Don't have any idea here on Tuesday. But I think that's where they would lean, because look, you mentioned those 17 carries. I mean, Jaheim, I thought, did a great job with those. A lot of that was yards after contact, tough runs. Marshawn has shown a knack for that. So if he can run inside, he can bounce it outside. If he could give you that element too, then you might have something. But it is an interesting balance. Like, getting Marshawn back does not make you a worse team.
Yeah.
That improves you, but it does give you some decisions from a personnel standpoint about, which direction do you go.
Preston, Marshawn, if he's healthy, is going to be expecting a full workload. And Spencer is going to be expecting to do what he did last week. Someone's feelings are getting hurt in the locker room, assuming he's healthy, correct? Or is there a way to make this copacetic?
No, we can make this copacetic because you can just point to the success they had last week. And this is why who matters so much. Obviously don't know him personally, but I feel pretty confident in thinking that Marshawn would accept a bit role or a spot role for the greater good of the team in this particular instance. Again, I don't know him personally, but just from all reports and all things that we do know, that's something that he would do, and he would excel in that position.
Yeah.
Marshawn has mentioned in the past, even during the recruiting process. Remember, Carolina was recruiting Marshawn and Tank Bigsby at the same time, and Marshawn even mentioned, like, "Hey, I'm good with that. Like, it means I don't."
And
So,
that was a difference maker for Tank, right? Because he wanted to be the guy.
Yeah,
Wasn't that more?
Despite what he said publicly, I think that was definitely a factor. They
Yeah.
got Marshawn, and then that magically fell off with Tank. But I mean, look, 17 carries, that's pretty good for a back in a game. That gives Marshawn plenty if they
And
could
Jaheim
get
had
to
what,
that number.
80 on the ground. It's not 1-to-1 for the
82,
defense,
yeah.
like we mentioned. But there were at least 2 plays that I remember, and Jaheim ran. That's the best he's run all year, in my opinion. But there were 1 or 2 plays where it's like, that's the cutback that Marshawn sees. That Jaheim's not a running back, so he and it was maybe still a good run, but would have been 10 more yards if it was Marshawn in there.
Yeah, it's just difficult because it just changes personnel groupings, as Chris said.
Yeah.
And now it's I don't know. The coaches will have some decisions to make for sure.
Yeah, hopefully they do, because hopefully he's healthy. It may not matter. The decision may be out of their hands. Shane Beamer will have an update on that almost certainly later on this afternoon. 1:30 is his press conference, and of course we'll have it for you live here on 107.5 The Game. That's all we have time for. We'll be back again tomorrow. Start to look ahead more to the Clemson game. Appreciate you all listening. I know it's been a fun first couple days of the week. It'll be a fun back half of the week as well. Appreciate y'all listening. As always, halftime show's coming up next.
Celebrating our 15th anniversary is Columbia's Sports Talk Station. WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia. 107.5 The Game. A Cumulus media station.
The wait is over. New Chevys are on the lot now, and more are on the way to Herndon Chevrolet. These vehicles are in demand and selling fast, so don't miss out. Stop by your hometown Chevy dealer and shop all your favorite models at prices you'll love. Find new